Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel. Hope you have liked the first video on chapter 6 part 1 life processes. This is my second video for chapter 6 part 2 in which I will be discussing breathing and respiration, respiration in plants, respiration in aquatic organisms and respiration in human beings. We have already studied in my first video of chapter 6 that after digestion, the food is stored in a simplest form of carbohydrate. And the simplest form of carbohydrate is glucose. Glucose is a 6-carbon molecule. So how do we get energy from this carbon molecule? Let us study it here. The glucose in the cytoplasm is broken down to pyruvate. Pyruvate is a 3-carbon molecule. So two such pyruvate molecules are formed and some amount of energy is released. The energy is synthesized in a molecular form which is known as ATP. The full form of ATP you already know, adenosine triphosphate. So two such ATP molecules are synthesized when pyruvate molecules are formed. After this, there are two ways by which breaking up of pyruvate takes place, either in presence of oxygen or in absence of oxygen. In presence of oxygen, the respiration is known as aerobic respiration. In absence of oxygen, it is known as anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration is of two types. The first one is fermentation. Fermentation occurs in yeast or in some bacteria, in which there is incomplete breakdown of the pyruvate molecule into ethanol, carbon dioxide, and energy. Since it's an incomplete breakdown, the energy released is less and only two ATP molecules can be synthesized from this energy. You must have seen when we add yeast in a dough of our idlis or bhaturas. There, the yeast after respiration releases some carbon dioxide and because of which the dough becomes soft and fluffy. The second type of anaerobic respiration is in our muscle cells. Suppose we are running and there is an emergent requirement of energy in our muscles. There, the pyruvate is broken down to lactic acid. Lactic acid is a 3-carbon molecule. So the energy released is also less. Only two ATP molecules can be synthesized from this energy. The lactic acid on accumulation in the muscles can cause pain and cramps. The other type of respiration which occurs in presence of oxygen occurs in mitochondria. And because it occurs in presence of oxygen, it is a complete breakdown of pyruvate to carbon dioxide, water, and energy. From this energy, 36 ATP molecules can be synthesized. And the energy released after the breaking up of ATP is utilized by the cells in doing the cellular activities like cell growth, cell division, or for transfer of materials in the cell. Often we use the terms breathing and respiration interchangeably. Let us study what is the basic difference in breathing and respiration. Breathing is a physical process in which oxygen is taken in and carbon dioxide is thrown out by the body. It is present in all living organisms and no energy is obtained by this process. Whereas the respiration is a biochemical process. Biochemical because in this, the glucose molecules combines with oxygen to release energy. Respiration in many single-cell organisms and plants take place through simple diffusion. Diffusion is a simple process of exchange of gases in which the molecules of gas move from their region of high concentration to region of low concentration. The process is passive, that means it does not require any energy. Let us study how exchange of gases take place in plants or respiration in plants. For respiration, plants take oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. Please look carefully. Plants take in oxygen and they give out carbon dioxide during the process of respiration. This is reverse of what happened in photosynthesis, which we have studied in my earlier video of chapter 6, in which we have studied that plants take carbon dioxide and water and synthesize a glucose or a carbohydrate molecule, and then oxygen is released. So both the processes are occurring simultaneously in plants. How it is controlled? The plants, as I have told you, take oxygen or carbon dioxide by a process known as diffusion. Through diffusion, the gases enter the stomata. Stomata is just an opening on the surface of leaf, which are more on the lower side of the leaf than the upper side. How this opening is controlled? This opening is controlled by the guard cells. The guard cells are kidney-shaped cells around the opening of stomata. When the water is filled in these guard cells, then they are swollen and this opening of stomata opens so that the gases can get into the cell or can come out of the plant cell. Direction of diffusion depends on the requirement of plant and environmental conditions. So what happens when the plants are doing photosynthesis in daytime? They are taking carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen in the atmosphere. But in daytime, they are also doing respiration. So they're taking oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide, which is produced by plants during respiration, is consumed by the plants for doing photosynthesis, and there is no net release of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere during day. But what happens during night? During night, there is no sunlight. So plants are not doing photosynthesis. At that time, also plants are doing respiration as they were doing in the daytime. So carbon dioxide is produced because they are taking oxygen. Now this carbon dioxide is released, but it is not utilized by the plants for doing photosynthesis. That is why it is always said that we should not sit or sleep under a tree during night time. Different animals have evolved different structures for uptake of oxygen and release of carbon dioxide. Let us see how fishes do this respiration. You must have seen a fish opening and closing its mouth again and again and flapping a flap-like structure over its gills. Fishes take oxygen dissolved in water through their mouth. This water, when it reaches the gills, here exchange of gases take place. Carbon dioxide is thrown out along with water, and oxygen which is coming in water is taken in by the body, which reaches along with blood to the cells. Breathing rate in fishes is higher than terrestrial animals, as percentage of oxygen dissolved in water is less compared to oxygen in air. This is a popular question which is generally asked in exams. In terrestrial animals also, oxygen is absorbed by different organs in different animals. These organs have specialized structures to increase the absorptive surface. The surface is thin and delicate so that more exchange of gases can take place across the membrane. Let us study the structure of human lungs before studying the exchange of gases in humans. Humans have two lungs, the right lung and the left lung, one on each side of the backbone. Lungs are placed in thoracic cavity. Thoracic cavity is separated by a flap-like structure which is called diaphragm from the abdominal cavity. Lungs are surrounded by an outer layer called the pleura, and they are enclosed in a rib cage. Rib cage is bony structure which protects our very thin and delicate lungs. Each lung is made up of lobes. There are 3 lobes in the right lung and 2 in the left. To learn this, you can use the trick. Right has more letters, so there are 3 lobes. Left has less letters, so it has 2 lobes. The trachea, which is a passage of air coming from the throat, is surrounded by cartilaginous rings. These rings prevent the trachea from collapsing. In humans, the air is taken in through the 2 openings of the nose, which are known as nostrils. When the air from the nostrils enter the nasal passage or the nose, it is filtered by thin hairs present in the nose. It has also mucus, which absorbs any foreign particles which are entering the nasal passage. From the nasal passage, the air enters the throat region, where the tube is known as trachea. Trachea is surrounded by thin cartilaginous rings, which prevents the trachea from collapsing. Now, how oxygen enters the lungs? Let us see this process. For inspiration or taking in oxygen, the diaphragm on which the lungs rest is pulled down, and the intercostal muscles are also pulled up or pulled outside, which increases the cavity in the thorax region. When the cavity is increased, the air is pushed in. The reverse happens in exhalation or expiration. During this process, the diaphragm relaxes and the intercostal muscles also relaxes, decreasing the thoracic cavity. So when the cavity is decreased or it contracts, the carbon dioxide is pushed outside, which is known as expiration or exhalation. Each lung receives air from trachea. The trachea branches into 2 tubes, one for each side of the lung, which are known as bronchi. Bronchus is the singular. The bronchi further divides into 3 tubes on the right side, which are known as bronchioles, and 2 on the left side, depending on the number of lobes in each lung. Bronchioles further divide to form fine network of capillaries. These fine network of capillaries appear as small balloon-like structures filled with air. These are known as alveolar sacs. Alveolar sacs are surrounded by capillaries of pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein. The pulmonary vein takes in oxygen brought by the alveoli, and it is sent to the heart for distribution to various parts of the body where respiration will take place. For cellular respiration, the carbon dioxide, which is brought by the pulmonary artery from the body after respiration, is thrown into the alveolar sac. And from the alveolar sac, it follows the same path of bronchioles, bronchi, trachea, and nose and outside to the environment. The oxygen present in alveolar air is brought by the pulmonary vein to the heart. All the air from the alveolar sac is not emptied. That means there is some residual volume of air left in the alveolar sacs. The oxygen brought back to the heart goes to different cells. In cells, oxidation of wood takes place forming carbon dioxide, water, and energy. This carbon dioxide is sent back to the heart. From there, it is collected by the pulmonary artery and is brought back to the lungs for throwing it out from the passage of bronchioles, bronchi, trachea, nose, and outside. This cycle repeats in every breath. In multicellular organisms, like human, when the body size becomes large, the pressure of oxygen cannot deliver oxygen to every cell. So it is transported with the help of a pigment called hemoglobin. Carbon dioxide is transported in soluble form in blood as it is more soluble than oxygen. Students, I hope you understood the process of respiration in organisms. Please do write a comment in the comment section below if you have any doubts or queries. Like and subscribe my channel to get the notification of my forthcoming videos. My next video will be on circulation and transportation in organisms. Thank you for watching.